Okay, good afternoon, folks. This is Eric Payton, and we are going to do the VOR navigation. I have already um, clicked on the initialize position, which took me out to the start location for this scenario, which is right just off the coast of the Morro Bay. And I've gone through the pre-briefing on the website. Um, and then when I click on pre-briefing, it pops up this window in the 3D cockpit, and it has the steps to follow, which are one, tune the Nav1 radio to 112.4, which is currently tuned to the VLOC 1. You can see it there. Set the OBS on the VOR instrument to 090, and these things I am going to do after the step 2 is going to be done after I start the scenario. And then step 3 is flying the heading of 140, and that is currently bugged on the DG. See there, it's set at 040, so that's the heading I'm going to fly. And I'm going to maintain an altitude of 5,000 feet and an airspeed of 120 knots. So when I initialized the position, it put me at about 100 knots and an altitude of 5,000. So I'm already at my altitude, and the autopilot is automatically engaged when I initialize my position. So those are all presets, and it already set the weather for me for what is needed in this scenario. So I'm going to go ahead and unpause the scenario now. And since I'm not really interested in looking out the instrument panel, I went ahead and repositioned this VOR window just right there in front of me, and the scenarios window over here to my right. So let's go ahead and get this thing started here. And we're going to start the lesson.
In this lesson, you will track inbound along the 090 VOR radial. When you pass over the VOR, you will then track a new radial outbound. You will be evaluated on how well you can keep the CDI needle centered while maintaining altitude. When you are ready, disengage the autopilot and turn to a heading of 140 degrees while maintaining 5,000 feet. At that time, we can begin the evaluation.
140. So
good. It looks like you are close enough to the assigned altitude and heading.
Engage that.
You can now disengage the autopilot.
Okay, autopilot's disengaged.
Heading of 140 degrees, an altitude of 5,000 feet. Set your OBS needle to 090 degrees. Tune your top radio to 121.4.
There.
Nice job setting your OBS correctly.
Alright, set my OBS.
Intercept the radial.
I got my VLOC tuned to 112.4, and I do have it set on VLOC. So I'm good to go there. Now I'm hand flying this thing. Maintaining that heading of 140, altitude of 5,000, and airspeed of 120, which looks like was set automatically in the scenario. So I'm not even going to touch the throttle as long as it doesn't ask for any changes in airspeed. So I'm currently at step 3, flying a heading of 140, altitude of 5,000 feet, and I'm maintaining my airspeed of 120 knots right there. So I will be intercepting the 090 radials.
Your horizontal course deviation needle
okay, there we go. You can see it moving. Horizontal course needle is moving, so as soon as that thing starts to center up, I'm going to make a turn to the left. that thing centered. And you can see that the to from flag currently in the to position, because that little white dot, little white arrow is pointing up, and it says to.
The CDI needle is now centered, and I will begin evaluating you on how well you can keep it centered.
So as you can see there in the evaluators, that nav is now in red, which means I'm currently being evaluated, keeping that CDI needle centered. I'm flying at around 090, however I do have a pretty strong headwind off my right side here, so I'm probably going to be at more like 100, because you can see already that my CDI needle is drifting to the right. So I'm going to get that crab angle established. This too. Drifting off even more. I got to prevent that thing out of control there, so I'm going to probably go to like almost 120 just to get it back again. So now you can see it coming back in again. So I'm going to head back over to about 100, the 10 degree, about a 10 degree crab angle. A little bit of glitching going on with the computer. Alright, now I'm drifting a little bit to the left on the CDI, so I'm going to reduce that crab angle to maybe 5 degrees. Still getting too much CDI flexion to the left, so I always need to turn. I'm getting an indication saying that I'm approaching the VOR, because I did put that as a direct to waypoint, my GPS. Alright, now
the CDI is becoming more sensitive as you approach the zone of confusion.
I'm getting ready now to...
We have passed over the VOR. Set an outbound radial of 120 degrees.
Go. About 120.
Nice job setting your OBS correctly.
Right there. Now I'm starting my turn to intercept that.
On this radial.
A little bit of back pressure to keep myself from descending. That was a little bit too much. Now I need to oversteer past 120. Get that back again. So probably at about 150, 160. Get that outbound radial of 120. Now you can see that the to from needle, right? It's coming back in. To from needle.
The needle is now centered, and I will begin evaluating you on how well you can keep it.
A little bit of an overshoot there on the
check your position. You are off course.
Alright, now it's going to become a little bit less and less sensitive as I get further from the CDI needle. But, okay, now I'm centered again. I still have that stiff crosswind off my right wing. I'm going to have to still establish some sort of crab. I think I figured it was more like between 5 and 10 degrees crab. So, still trying to maintain 5,000 feet and 120 knots. Notice that my to from is now on the from indication. Means I'm going away from
nice job.
VOR.
I think we can wrap up
Yay!
this training exercise.
And that
set a course back
scenario
to the airport, and we can review your results on the ground.
Now complete. And it's going to bring up the results here in a second. No longer being evaluated, so I don't care about maintaining altitude and heading and all that good stuff. It's doing an instant replay, which it does for all the scenarios. And then it pauses and brings up my results. So the results were I got 94% on that one. I added 5,600 total points. I did pass. Breakdown looks like my heading was 100, my altitude is 100, my CDI was at 89. I did some oversteering there, and that's where I need to work on improvement next time around. So there you have it. That completes the scenario on the VOR navigation.